Greetings and welcome to my handbook for the hammer in Monster Hunter Wilds, based on the open beta from this past week. My goal is to present to you the playstyle of the hammer and how to excel at its primary objective, bashing the head in of any monster. The information presented here is founded on my personal experience with hammer dating back to 3 Ultimate, as well as absorbing as many details as possible from other hammer users and creators, including speedruns. By no means do I consider myself a speedrunner, although I do attempt to be as efficient as possible to reduce my hunt times all while having fun with the game. Outside of motion value adjustments, I don't see anything major changing for the hammer between now and the full release. Any major changes will be taken into account for a new handbook video if needed. I'll start with the more important aspects of hammer that affect your choices in combat, and then dive into smaller details of the weapon. We will be using PlayStation notation, so please keep that in mind. Let's begin. Hammer is all about charging and unleashing big attacks, but that doesn't make it a slow weapon as most people would assume. Instead, your worry is the fact that you are constantly weaving in and out of spaces near one of the more dangerous parts of a monster, its head. Because of this, it's important to understand how movement works with hammer. Without proper use of movement, positioning, and utilizing the tools you have, you will constantly take damage and no longer be effective with your weapon. You have good base movement speed with your hammer unsheathed, and you are able to move while charging. You can begin charging your hammer with R2. However, do keep your stamina in mind as it will drain while charging your hammer whether or not you are moving. You can also roll to stop charging if your positioning isn't good or to avoid an attack. Another important movement tool you have is the charged step. This can be done by pressing circle while charging. To avoid confusion, I'm going to refer to this as the keeping sway, which is what it was named in Monster Hunter Rise, because there are other steps of note for hammer. There is a short delay when entering into a charging state, but as soon as you are charging, you can keeping sway. This is a dash in the direction you're moving, and does provide you with invincibility frames. You can sway through roars and dodge attacks all while getting into position to strike. So be sure to keeping sway whenever possible in place of rolling in order to press your offense while evading the monster. Speaking of offense, time for your charge attacks. Like I said, R2 will begin charging your hammer, and there are 3 levels to this. Your hunter will flash and change color from white to yellow to red, denoting a new charge level has been reached, and releasing R2 will use the corresponding charge attack. Your level 1 charge attack is a quick swipe that can then be followed up with a powerful backswing by pressing triangle. Your level 2 charge attack is a powerful moving uppercut that also flows into the backswing. This backswing is fast, and one of your best head sniping tools since it can reach quite high into the air. And finally, your level 3 charge is a 2-hit slam with good reach. Your options after this are rolling, starting another charge, or spinning bludgeon. Be sure to do something to cancel the recovery animation of the charged level 3 to stay mobile and safe. Your priority during hunts is going to be sniping the head of a monster whenever possible, and anytime the monster attacks, you utilize the correct charge level that will maximize damage while moving you into an ideal position. Your reward for this: knocking out the monster. KOs are the butter to your bread and allow you an extended opening for damage. In a good hunt, you can expect to see up to 4 or 5 KOs, but your mileage may vary depending on hunt times. In my experience, the duration of the knockout will begin to shorten after knockout number 4. So, what should you do during a knockout? New to Wilds, the Mighty Charge starts spinning your hammer and can be done by pressing R2, triangle, and circle under conditions that I'll go over shortly. You're able to move during Mighty Charge, and it grants you access to 2 charged attacks, a quick, strong uppercut, and the Mighty Slam. Use the uppercut for smaller openings, but your goal is instead to perform the Mighty Slam. This is your top priority in hunts, as the Mighty Slam is key to putting out high damage with hammer. You will be constantly looking for ways to squeeze the Mighty Charge Slam into your gameplay, whether the monster is knocked out or not. And thankfully, you have many ways to enter Mighty Charge. Upon reaching charge level 3, you can press R2, triangle, and circle. During the Big Bang attack, 4 hits in and before the finishing slam, you can enter Mighty Charge. And then the quickest way to start twirling your baton is through your Gulf Swing combo. Charge attacks aren't all there is to hammer. Your normal attacks and combo loops are crucial to making the most out of your KO windows. Your triangle combo is the iconic pound-pound golf swing combo. This is technically referred to as the upswing in game, but I'm too partial to calling it the golf swing, so we're sticking with that. If you input a direction while pressing triangle, you'll get this side smack before the second pound and golf swing. The side smack version of this combo is faster to perform. The golf swing combo is the follow-up to the backswing you get after your level 1 and 2 charge attacks. The golf swing has great reach, good damage, and most importantly is your main transition tool into your mighty charge. Another new addition in Wilds allows you to perform steps in between each hit of this combo. Do note that the steps specifically before the golf swing can be much more than a step. As you can see, you are able to have quite a long stride before letting the golf swing rip. The timing of this can be tricky, and it seems it's just easier to pull off in combat. So either I'm stinky at hammer and this indeed requires strict timing, or there's something funky going on and being in a state of combat changes the properties of this longer step. Regardless, the steps during the golf swing combo are indeed very useful, not just for positioning for head snipes, but for another, much more exciting reason. Easily my favorite upgrade in Wilds, the golf swing, is hammer's offset attack. You can hold your golf swing for around 5 seconds, which is incredibly useful for timing the offset. You'll want to time it so your swing connects just as an incoming monster attack would inflict damage onto you. If done correctly, you will be rewarded with flashy sparks and the monster will be sent reeling. You can also offset through monster roars. It won't technically count as an offset. We know this because the Doshiguma set bonus won't trigger, but it still lets you ignore roars while landing a golf swing. This is where the steps in between your golf swing combo will really shine. We haven't discussed all forms of it yet, but I feel it's important to mention here that all forms of the golf swing can offset. I have tested this, and the golf swing from spinning bludgeon, jumping attacks, and sliding attacks all have offset properties. The only one that cannot be held for timing purposes is the strong upswing after landing a charged level 3 jumping attack. Not all of these are very practical, but it's good that all forms of the golf swing are consistent. Like other offsets, this will take foresight and monster knowledge to get the most out of it. However, similar to a fighting game, you'll be able to set up your offset and then choose whether or not you want to commit to the golf swing. This is what's known as an option select. You put the monster in a situation where, regardless of what they do, your choice results in a net positive for you, which is either a successful offset attack or rolling away to safety. For example, in this clip I'm positioned behind the Doshiguma, nowhere near its head. Knowing he will most likely turn to me or even my Palico, I start my golf swing combo. I step in between each attack for better positioning, and so I'm ready to either dodge or commit to the offset. I saw my opportunity, and despite being slightly early, I was able to land it. The timing and amount of active offset frames are certainly more generous than they would seem. This is why the golf swing is so prevalent in Wilds compared to more recent entries in this series, which is incredibly exciting. It acts as both an offset attack and can combo into your mighty charge. Here is where I'll take a moment to talk about hyper armor. Most of your main attacks do allow you more hyper armor than ever before. This means you won't get pushed out at certain animations as easily from monster attacks. This includes your golf swing and charged attacks, as well as your options from mighty charge. Hyper armor is especially interesting for the golf swing, because it looks like the swing can hyper armor through an attack even if you mistimed an offset. Honestly though, this was the aspect of hammer I explored the least in the beta, and there's plenty of room for experimentation to see how strong our hyper armor can be. The damage you take from an offset isn't totally negligible, but the opening and damage you gain from the offset makes it more than worth it. However, it seems like landing an offset when the monster is enraged shortens the opening you get, but I'm not 100% on that. There are also times in which the offset will connect, but seemingly have no effect on the monster. I'm unsure as to exactly why either of these situations can happen, but I'm sure we'll learn why in the future. Either way, since the golf swing is your offset, once it connects, you can enter into mighty charge to capitalize on your opening. Next, we have our focus strike, EARFquake. done by holding L2 with your weapon out to enter focus mode and then R2. When landing onto a wound, EARFquake becomes a spinning slam that hits numerous times. You are able to aim during this animation while in focus mode. More importantly though, you can charge your hammer during EARFquake. This allows you to immediately follow it up with a charged level 3 slam, or you can start twirling that thing for a mighty slam. It's important to remember for any weapon that landing a focus strike onto a wound will knock the monster down, so be sure to utilize the wound before it expires. There are times in which this won't happen, such as if the monster is otherwise incapacitated. Hammer won't see as many wounds as other weapons, but you should get them fairly often on a monster's head, and focus mode itself isn't super important, but has its uses for hammer. It allows you to aim your attacks during their animations, such as while holding your golf swing or during any of your charged attacks. Unfortunately, our next combo does not fulfill its role quite as well as the golf swing does. Your circle combo is the Big Bang attack. It has 4 stages before its 5th and final slam, and each hit has to land in order for the combo to continue. As stated before, this can combo into Mighty Charge after the 4th hit before the finisher. But I'll be honest, while this move was your main go-to during KOs back in World, it really doesn't have the same shine to it anymore. It feels a little too slow and doesn't have the damage I feel it should, especially compared to your charge attacks and golf swing combo leading into your Mighty Charge. Big Bang has to compete with Mighty Slam, and it currently loses that battle. However, damage numbers can always change for the full game, and if anything, Big Bang can be used as a method of entering into Mighty Charge. To round it all out, let's talk about Spinning Bludgeon. This used to be attached to your level 3 charge, but is now a standalone move. Spinning Bludgeon can be done by pressing triangle and circle after essentially every one of your attacks. While spinning, you can press triangle at different points of the spin to perform different attacks. Immediately pressing triangle after one spin gets you a side smack. After 2 full spins, you will get the powerful backswing. Both of these transition into the golf swing combo. Finally, after 3 full spins, you can enter into, a golf swing. While this combo loop is pretty neat, I'm still on the fence about incorporating it into my gameplay. So far, I use it to connect a Mighty Charge Slam into a side smack to get back into a golf swing combo. But rolling after the Mighty Slam still feels faster to restart your offense. Other than that, I could see it being good for building your next KO. Oh, actually, one last thing. Your sliding and jumping attacks. While charging on a slope, you will start sliding. By releasing your charge, you'll see we still have the mid-air spinning bludgeon. This is quite strong, and the multiple hits can help with mounting. After this attack, you can enter into your golf swing combo. An interesting note is that you can adjust the direction of this attack more than you would think. In fact, while sliding in one direction, you can start the mid-air spin in a completely different direction. You'll see your hunter come to a stop, shift while still somehow maintaining momentum, and then launch themselves in the direction of your choosing. The other option while sliding is to press X to jump, and if your hammer became fully charged, you'll land into a slam and then can combo into a stronger version of the golf swing. This is the same as your jumping attack from ledges. In summary, stick to a monster's head like glue and use the strongest charge attack or combo you can while leaving yourself room to dodge or keeping sway into safety. Hammer doesn't have much range. In fact, it feels even shorter than normal in Wilds, but you have great mobility and defensive options to keep you up close to your target. As you learn a monster's patterns, you can then start incorporating offset attacks and mighty charges in places you initially wouldn't have expected. Knockouts are your carrot on a stick for making the correct choices, and trust me, KOs are what make Hammer an incredibly satisfying weapon to use. While certain monsters can be bad matchups if they have a head that is hard to consistently attack, this still remains my favorite weapon in this series. Overall, the Wilds version of Hammer is incredible, and in my opinion, a strong contender for best of the series. Hammer is a weapon that can utilize both prediction and reactionary gameplay, and thankfully it really feels like we have the damage in Wilds to reward us for good play. I think Big Bang just needs a slight increase in damage, but maybe the endgame hammers with high raw attack will push its motion values into usefulness. And even though I haven't messed with spinning Bludgeon too much, the ability to weave it into your attacks is better than it being your moving level 3 charge. The rest of your moveset is fantastic, fluid, and impactful to your gameplay loop. Hammer is still one of the simpler forms of dopamine delivery in Monster Hunter, but the increased skill ceiling thanks to the fancy new tools we get in Wilds truly sends a fresh wind to us Hammer mains. I feel the same about Hammer as I do with the Greatsword, and when done correctly, you don't need a flashy moveset to have satisfying gameplay. I hope this guide helps others see the potential of Hammer. If you felt I missed something important, then please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to Wilds. More Monster Hunter content is on the way, and here's hoping we don't have to wait until February to play Wilds again. Until then, bonk freely and thanks for watching.